Hundreds of Nigerians die from snakebite every year, and there are very few clinics that specialize in the treatment of snake venoms. And TVC's Larry Adeyemi visited one of these clinics and paints a grim picture of the challenges the victims of snakebite, their relatives and the health workers often go through.
Many people are afraid of snakes, and they have good reason to be. A snake bite is painful and could result in permanent disability. It's expensive to treat and could also result in death. This tiny clinic in Kaltungo Town, Gombe State, admits an average of 16 new snake bite victims every day. It has just 2 wards with 2 rooms each. The wards are usually overflowing with patients who have to sleep on corridors and sometimes even in the kitchen. When it rains, this clinic is better imagined than experienced.
There is serious burden, that's why the hospital is overstretched. All the northeastern states, from Bauchi, Adamawa, Borno, Yobe, Taraba, Plateau, even the Cameroon, they come here, and other states that are around, like Nasarawa, Jigawa, Kano, and Sokoto, sometimes they do come. So it's well overstretched, and the government has been spending money on that. But some of the states, they have refused to collaborate maybe with the state government to raise some money to buy enough anti-snake venom.
But the challenges go beyond inadequate facilities. The anti-venom medication costs about 30,000 naira a vial, which is very expensive for these patients who are mostly peasant farmers. An example is 10-year-old Mikai, who was herding cattle in Taraba when he stepped on a snake.
In fact, when this thing happened, I would cover it.
Snakes. And they have good reason to be. A snake bite is painful and could result in permanent disability. It's expensive to treat and could also result in death. This tiny clinic in Kaltungo Town, Gombe State, admits an average of 16 new snake bite victims every day. It has just 2 wards with 2 rooms each. The wards are usually overflowing with patients who have to sleep on corridors and sometimes even in the kitchen. When it rains, this clinic is better imagined than experienced.
There is serious burden, that's why the hospital is overstretched. All the northeastern states, from Bauchi, Adamawa, Borno, Yobe, Taraba, Plateau, even the Cameroon, they come here, and other states that are around, like Nasarawa, Jigawa, Kano, and Sokoto, sometimes they do come. So it's well overstretched, and the government has been spending money on that. But some of the states, they have refused to collaborate maybe with the state government to raise some money to buy enough anti-snake venom.
But the challenges go beyond inadequate facilities. The anti-venom medication costs about 30,000 naira a vial, which is very expensive for these patients who are mostly peasant farmers. An example is 10-year-old Mikai, who was herding cattle in Taraba when he stepped on a snake.
In fact, when this thing happened, I would cover it, but I was not any cover. My people run away, find money from people, borrowing. They borrow money around we borrow almost 50,000 in hand in cash. So we took motor from them side here. We took motor at cost of 15,000. Directly we brought us at 15,000 transport. So we came, and then they found source treatment, injection, they say it's 30,000. So we thought we give them money, they went and buy the medicine at Gombe.
Gombe State government had borne the burden of providing this expensive medication for years, treating patients from over 10 states and others who come from as far as Republic of Cameroon for treatment. This is why the patients and caregivers are calling on the federal government to intervene.
In the hospital, there is so much grass for comfort. There are no culverts, no doors. A lot of mosquitoes litter the landscape as well. We want all these addressed because this hospital is pivotal, not just to us in Nigeria. People from Cameroon, Chad and elsewhere also come here, but when some come, they are kept in the open with no beds.
I call the federal government that they should be trying to build more place more than this, because the hospital is very small, very little. People here were too much. No accommodation. See where am I now? It's the kitchen. This is where they fire they cook because there's no accommodation that we now here. So they want to cook now. There's no any place to cook here at all. Now we buy in the morning, afternoon, night. You must go and buy. So the one at the minute, the soup I bring from home is now in keeping. There's no place I will put fire and cook it. So I must go and buy with money before I eat.
The caregivers have made and continue to make remarkable sacrifices for their patients. Dr. Abubakar Saidu has been the only doctor in this clinic for over 15 years. He has treated thousands of patients without once going on leave in this 15-year period. He explains that not being around means people will die.
There is nothing like going on leave, because when there is federal government stock or state government stock, you don't go out at all. You need to see that all the patients that are admitted get the drug that are specified for them. And you need to check the register of these patients and the time of administration of this drug and the dose, that is the amount of vial given. So there is no time for you to go on leave or go on maybe a break.
Regardless of the sacrifices these medical personnel make, many patients still die. Most of the deaths are results of cultural bias and inadequate medical resources.
The traditional healers, because they are the ones that are delaying the patient from coming to the hospital, because they find it as a source of earning money. When they see snakebite patient, they call them to their house, they give them herbs, and they collect tokens for that. So they delay them, because they have their specific time before they release you. Or either you run away, or you wait for them. When it is too bad, they cannot cope, they will just say go to the hospital. So we need advocacy visit to the traditional rulers, local government chairman and the councillors, and also traditional healers, because they are one important people that people believe in them, the traditional healers, because they are the only remedy in the bush, in the villages. So they see them as important people.
Some of these people behind me here are victims of snakebite who could not find bed space in the ward. This clinic is run by Gombe State government, but it treats patients from over 10 states, some coming from Sokoto and Cameroon. It's paramount that the federal government gets involved in funding this clinic that has been busy saving dozens of lives every day for the last 18 years. Lanre Adeyemi, TVC News, Kaltungo, Gombe State.